השיעור בהמשך תופריש עין בייס, חלק א', מים הדיבור המסחיל, המחס אני מאברהם, תופריש עין ד', and it's on Omud Tov Nun Tes. So we're already into Os Reish Kof Zay. And we saw that the mamutza between Nishomis and Atzim Sein Tzei, and Beklal, the mamutza between the Nivroim and Ein Tzei, was the Inen of Chochmah Stimor. And we saw that the mamutza from Chochmah Stimor was that it was two tztadim in one Inen, and that was the teretz on the Inen we asked originally. And we saw that Chochmah Stimor was Pnimius Abahu, Pnimius Atik. That Pnimius Atik was Mamish Nimta b'Chochmah Stimor, Mislavish Mamish in Chochmah Stimor. However, the Inen from Chochmah Stimor had in itself a Helem Atzmi, Lekabi Lamata, and that Helem Atzmi was a Tzio Bilvad, not a Lavush. And we saw that was connected with the Inif and what Chochmah Stimor is a mokeh to Chitenius a Chochmah. And we saw that Lavush causes the emes Helem A'atzmi of Pnimis Atik to be in a state of Stima. The Helem, however, we saw it was only a Tzio, but not a Lavush Amali. It was only a Tzio Mesuyam in Chochmah Stimor Atzmei. And Alidei, the Aveda, the Nivroim Lamata, or the Odom, meaning Atim Kruyim Odom, Alidei, the Aveda from the Nishomis Lamata, so they can come through the dealing with that Lavush, which is not a Lavush, it's already a Tzio Atzmi, which appears to them. They can then come to the Pnimis Va'atzmiyas of Atik, which is in the kilo behind the Tzio, or is in effect the Tzio Mamish. They say that they can be Mischaber with Atzmiyas Ein Tzei, which is Pnimis Atik, and it's all in the same Inyan. It's not different Madrigas, which are the questions: how do they be Mischaber so? No, this is in Chochmah Stimor Atzmei, the two Inyonim. And we saw that was the two Einayim, the Beneged to Liosi. That's written that Ayin Ba'ayin Yiru, and we saw that those base Einayim that will be united, and they will be Mischaber Liosi, they were the two Oifani Aveda in the Mutza. One was with the Helem that appears to the Makablim, to the Neshama Saraya Lamata, and that's what we saw was the Helem of the Nefesh Habamiyas and the Guf. However, the Nefesh Habamiyas and the Guf are able to come to a Re'iyah we saw in the Union of Hasogas Hametzias, which is the only type of Hasoga which is really Shaykh La'esato in Elikus Po'ilam Hazeh. They can be masik of that Hasoga in a even from Ria Hushiyas. In other words, that they see the Union of Elikus and how it's Mahavad the Elam Ayin Liyesh, and other Union that we saw that the mensch can actually observe in Elikus. And we saw that that's a Indian from Ria Hushiyas Mamish, that the Mamish sees the Indian from these Inyanim Ria Hushiyas. But that Ria is not Ria in the Mahus Elikus, that's only a Ria in what he understands is really the beer of those Inyanim that he sees. So the beer behind those Inyanim is the Indian from the Asogas Matziyas. But he's able to come to a conviction and a devekis in those inyonim as if he sees them, because they become so obvious in the olam through the union of observing them, as it were, Vapoyo in the olam, and that's called Ria Chushiyas in the union of the Asogas Hamatziyas. And so we saw that Riyah Chushias in the Asoras Amatzias, but that's one side of the Mamutza, as it were, that's one ayin, and that causes a bittul of that helem that there is mitzad the Chochmas Timor, or the helem the steamer, the infant steamius, the helem, the all you see is a gashmistic world. So it depends how you look at it. If you look at it in the right way, then you don't see just a gashmistic world, or you see just different heichachas and different proofs or different illustrations of Elokus. So you don't see the Elokus, but you see the Inyonim ad kedekach, and they are poil on the Nefesh Abamis and the Guf, a tremendous ispilus, as if it were Inyan Shel Re'iyah Mam. Mamira, that's the Tzad Arishan, that's the first ayin. And then we saw there was the other ayin, that Adidei said, what you might call we saw the inyan of the egos of the Nefesh Abamis, the heavy skin around the Nefesh Elokis over the Nefesh Abamis becomes broken, because he sees Beria Saguf, or Beria Chushias Inyonim, which indicate to him Elokus, and they tell him about Elokus, and therefore he is no longer Mailum Master on the Nefesh Elokis. And the truth of the matter, how did he come to all those Inyonim? Because the Nefesh Elokis went out of its way to show them to him. We saw that was in Ato Horeisa Lo Da'as, the Inyan, the Aveda, the Nefesh Elokis, Lamata was to show the Nefesh Abamis all these Inyonim, Alidei, that she achieves that Uftu in the Nefesh Abamis, then the Helem of the Nefesh Abamis, Aleho, is literally the skin of the how do you call it, the shell of the nut is then broken, and the Nefesh Elokis is able to come to her own Aveda Mitzad Atzmai, which is Riyas HaMahus in Ela, Riyas HaMahus Mamish in Elokus. That's the Aveda of the Nefesh Elokis. That's what she had Lamaila in Gan Eden. So we asked the Shaila, what does she have down here that's different? So we saw that in Gan Eden it was only in the infant Gimel Rishonos. Bilvad, it was only in the Indian form, how do you call it, Giluim Bilvad, the Indian for Atzilus, how it's Meya in Bria, or that's the Indian for Gan Eden. And therefore the Asoga was the Asoga of Rias HaMahus, however it shayt the Indian for Ria, and however much it shayt the Indian for Mahus in Gan Eden. Of a Khan Lamata, we saw that the Neshama comes to Amitius Avidosa in the Inyan from Riyas HaMahus, in Atzma Sein Seif Mamish, in Elokus, how he is not just Giluim in Gan Eden, but Etzem Elokus, Lamaila Miyishtavshus Ailamas, how it's Meya Lamata, and that's the other tzad of the Mamutza, Gaviyoho, as she comes to the Inyan from Pnimius Atik, or that for all intents and purposes, the infant Betchina Taktoina Shabamaitza, that's the infant At. Therefore, the Nefesh Elokis is Zeicha to a Riyah Mahusis. However, we saw that with all the Milas Shebos there, it's not Mamish the infant Riyah Mahus in the sense of Riyah Gashmiyas and Riyah Zainayim Agashmiyim, Riyah Hamahus, Hagashmiyas, but it's Riyahs. Ein ha-seichel in Azarif, and we this mamish Riyah Hama Ki'ilu, this is Riyah Hamahus, and we saw that was the dogma of the Arizal, was brought down in Lakut Terem, in Parshat Tzav, where the Alter Rebbe Masbid, the famous sleep Kaviocha that the Arizal was having on Shabbos Parshat Bolak Bilam, that he was really being Makabel, or Indian of Gilei Elokus, but even show Re'iyah Mamish, Me'ein, how it's going to be Li Osid, or not Mamish Li Osid. And then we saw in this case, Yeresh Kov Zayin, we saw here that the Rebbe was Machadish that Li Osid, it will be a Ina from Riyah Chushiyas, Mamish Riyah Gufniyas, Riyah Mitzad the Guf, and the Nefesh Abamiyas, that since they will then be Makabel from their Shoresh Bagolu, the Ina from their Asayib Kolalmi. And therefore the Guf will be able to see the Ina from Riyas Amahus, Elokus, but Riyah Chushiyas, Mamish. And so we went on to say that there was a Meire in the Inyan van Riyah Chushias, Gabi the Inyan van Riyah Sein HaSeichel. That even though the Inyan van Riyah Sein HaSeichel, the Aveda the Nefesh Elokis, of a Riyah Chushias, Mamish is Od L'Mayla Mizeh. And she will be zeichen to that liyosid because she was mavara ato horeiso. She was mavara mazachik. The nefesh abamish till he came to his inyan of Riyah Chushis in the Asogas Matziyah. And then that gave into the nefesh Elokis ayin for Riyah Mahusis in Atzma saying say, albeit not mamish Riyah Chushis. And then liyosid, the goof and the nefesh abamish, they will be pearl in the nefesh Elokis, as it were. She will be makabel from them the inyan for Riyah Chushis mamish in Elokut. The mamish Riyah bechush agufni v'hagashmi in Elokut. And so we see that the Chiddush Nifla that we learn here is that liyosid the guf will be the neshama will be makabel from the guf. In other words, we have to say that because the guf and the nefesh abamiyas were shown by the nefesh Elokis. Originally, the whole inyan for Riyah Chushis in Al Kaponim and Asogas HaMatziyah, and that was poured into the nefesh Elokis. Agila of her Riyah Mahusias, how much she tried to have Ruah Mahusias here bezeh ha'olam. So then liyosid, it works in that way, over in a different oifen, that then the guf is zeicher to the gilui of his emes shoyres with the inyan for tzayivim, and that's then poil in him that he actually sees that of course mamish Boriya Eichshazat Sloi, the Hainu Riyah Gashmis v'chushi yes kipshuta in Mahus Elokut. That will be that's then misnated back, as you might say, into the neshama, and the neshama has Riyah Chushi yes mamish in Elokus, and that will be the Seder how it is be a Moisama HaMoshiach. That's where we were. That's where we were holding in the Maimon.
It seems like,
and so we saw that.
It seems like the Iker Inyan of Riyah, the Iker Inyan in Riyah Velokus,
Riyah
explains in Perek Mem Beit the Dugma is Kemoshu Yodeh that small. It's not in a Riyah Chushit. It's a in a Yodeh that small. Gambe Biyat Mashiach. It says.
This is Mitzad the Eibushter. Here we're talking Mitzad the Neshamas.
But
This is not the Eibushter. That's another thing. He's talking about the inyan van Hashgacha Protiyas and the idea Sa'atzmas in the Eibushter knows about the Nivroim, not in an oifen of Yediyah how it is by Nivroim. I was talking about another thing. The inyan van Yediyah Sa'atzmas in what's going on Kabel and the Welt. Here we're talking about the Neshamas. They will come to know Atzmas Eitzei.
I
don't understand what's the Shaila, what's the Kasha from the
what's written in the Atid. In the Atid it says Meleodes Dea Techem. The Chora that's Dea B'dugma Dea Chelamayla. It's higher than Riyah Chushit. It's Dea Atzmi.
No, I can't quite follow what it is that you. In Chassidus, we always have to be careful to talk on the inner we're talking about. Over there, that's another Shaila. How is it the cloud of Shaila that we say that the Eibushter knows about the Yom, that he knows what's happening in the world? So the Chiddush of Chassidus is that he knows about a Polishum Hevdo B'Yatzmusei. He knows everything that's happening. It's Bamira that arouses the whole Shaila. How can we have Bechira now? How can we told us in Yom? Over here we're talking inside the inyan of the Avodah, that they are already in Nivroim, and that's all being, as it were, in inverted commas, settled. But they are Nivroim, but they are serving him, and they are is what Mitzad Atzmas. It's always a question, how can that be? We're saying that there are different oifanim, how it will be in the iskashas of how the neshama and the guf were, as it were, lamata, and they're going to find their way to the Atzmas, Aliyosid Lovi, that'll reach its shleimus. If it'll reach a inyan, that they will experience that by initial Riyah Chushi is. And over there in Perek Mem Beis and another Mekayim Silsilas, he's talking about the inyan, how it is Mitzad Atzmas Atzmai, how does he know about the Nivroim, how does he have any reference, and Biazay Gate the inyan Hashgacha, it's like two different ends of the Mamut, or two different ends of the Inyan. Okay, so Al Chaponim says the Rebbe that that's the Inyan that Liosi will be Miskale the Inyan from Pnimis ve'atzmius ein seif, and that will be in an even of Riyah Hushias mitzad the Guf and the Nefesh Ba'amiyas, and that will be pale in the Neshama the Inyan from Riyah Mahusias Mamish. So I think that's where we were holding, and I think we're holding V'zeu Shalidei Mamutza the Chok Mistimor Davke Boyim and Neshamas V'chein Anei Tzolin V'chinas Alyoyin Sheba Mamutza. I think that's where we're holding. I think we got that far. That's how we got that far. Yeah, that's what he says. That the Neshama will be Makabel the Inyan from Riyah Chushias, as it were, from the Guf and the Nefesh Abamiyas. But anyway, she's had the Inyan from Riyah in Mahus the whole time, but that's a Riyah of Ein HaSeichel. You follow? It's not Mamish Riyah. It's not Mamish Riyah Chushias. That type of pilas or that type of iskashas that comes with some Riyah Chushias Mamish, well, that's a Chiddush Legabi the Neshama. Ain't it Neshama? She has the Inyan from Riyah Mahusis. It's like we explained in the word Alter Rebbe over there in Parshat Tzal. But he says it's a Re'iyah, but it's a Re'iyah which is Sofkos of the Inyan for Re'iyah's Ein HaSeichel. And what will be the Chiddush of the Yosid is that the Guf and the Nefesh Abamish will become Mashpiyah. And they will be Mashpiyah into the Neshama, his pilots and his kashas and alakus mamish alidei Riyah Gashmi. You follow? And that's what he said. That's what we had just here. That he said that there's a mile in the Inyan from Riyah Chushias over Riyah Ein HaSeichel. That's what he said. That's the mile that will occur to the Neshama. So that's what we're trying to point out now. The tremendous chiddush that's going to happen with Yosid is that the Neshama is going to come to Inyonim, which are Tachlis HaMaila, from something which is not really heard. I know from the Guf and the Nefesh Abamis, and that's a chiddush gadol. That there's going to be Netaisa in the Neshama, such Inyonim, which are only going to come inside the Guf and the Nefesh Abami is, and she started off at the beginning as being the whole teacher. She was the whole, how to call it, guide of the Nefesh Abamis, and in the end, she's going to be literally Mekabo from their Maila. You follow? Yeah, in the middle, there's going to be a tremendous change. That's called We Want Moshiach Now. You understand? I mean, the whole way to come to that is by acting and dealing with it in that way. Yeah, so it's a form that the Nefesh of the Keys is she's going to be like a form of Mitalmida Yosef Mekulam. Yeah, it's Zenachon. And it's brought down in Silas that the Inyan from Talmud Yosef Mekulam is a dogma of how the higher Ein Arich Madrege can be makabel Davke from the Tachtet Ein Arich Alidei, that he guides him and brings out the Maila in him. And then there's a tremendous Maila Bo'er Choizer, which is Niteis of Boy. Yeah, what Ein Chanami, that's a similar Inyan to what's going to happen here over in a much higher oven. Because over there it's Inyan from Siklium. Yeah, over here it's in an Inyan from Mamish Riyah Samahud. Al Chaponim. So that's where we're holding. V'yal kein mizeh davke u'bchinas hahelem shelamata, that we saw the davke through the Inyan of that shir in Chokmas Timor, which is the kisoi la'atik, and that we saw that was the Inyan from Chitzenis Chokmas Timor, but that was the Inyan of how it comes down into the world. Davke to be a mokir l'seichel of the Odom Lamata, in Seichel and Ushi, is okay mizeh davke hu bchinas hahelem shelamata. Shalidei avida b'hera mazeh boyim l'bchinas pnimis v'atzmis chokmas timor. Through the fact that we break that helem, and the Nefesh Abamis and how she is lamata, she begins to be masig matzias alakus, and then she comes to a Riyah through her chushim, not in Mahus Elikus, or in Metzias Elikus, she comes to Ayin Show Riyah and Mispailas, Ki Ilu Roya, then that's poil in the Nefesh Elikish, and Aliyah, that even here Lamata, she has a Toisefes in the Indian from Riyah Samahus, although as we said, that Riyah is only Riyah Ayin HaSeichel Bentayim. So therefore he said, Shalidei Aveda Behelam Hazeh, Boim Luchinas Pnimis Vatzmus Chochmas Timora, Vezo Shalidei Amamutza de Chochmas Timora Davke, Boim Anishomis, Bechein Aner Tzolim, Lobechina Hoelyena Shebema Mamutza. That they come to the Yin from Pnimius Atik, what that's we saw that the Emes Abir in Pnimius Abba, who Pnimius Atik is in the union of Chochmas Timora Davke. So now we see the two sides. But those are the two ayins that we started with. Ayin ba'ayin yiru. There's the union of the helem, which comes mitzad chitzonis chochmas timor, and that helem is the helem lamata. And alidei, what the nefesh elokis teaches the nefesh abamis to deal with that helem and brings him to a point where he has riyah chushiyah in his inyan, which is asogas ha'amtzias bilvad. Well, that causes a break in the whole block between him and the pnimius. And he causes in the nefesh elokis the opening of her eyes, that she comes to a higher inyan than what she had in Gan Eden in Riyas Mahus, or it's all Riyas Ein HaSeichel. Of Al Chaponim Dafki, through that we come into the Tzad HaElyon Sheba Mamutza, and the Yosid Love, it's all going to be Begolu Imamish, and there will be an inyan of Riyas HaMahus, Beriyah Chushiyas, afil in the Guf and Nefesh Abamiyas, Kan Lamata Bezeh Ho'ilam. שלומעלה מבחינת ממוצע, where are we? ועל ידי זה בואים גם כן לבחינס עצמס אין סייף שלומעלה מבחינת ממוצע. And so the Rebbe says, not only are you going to come to the Tzad HaElyon Sheba Mamutza, but that's the union of Pnimis Chochmas Timor Atik, Pnimis Atik, but you're going to come even higher. There'll then be an Aliyah, even L'mayla Mizeh, into Atzmus Ein Seif, Shelamayla Mibchinas Mamutza. In other words, the Pshitas are the Atzmus Mamish, even higher than the way he's mislabish in the Mamutza. כמו שכתוב, ולא ילמדו כולו איש es riyehu, כי כולם ידעו oisi. Because all of them will have a iskashus pnimius in oisi mamish. Ukemoi, vayichu li, and it's one on the Zohar Kodesh teaches the word li as oisi atem eloichim. That through the inyan from Torah we also find a similar inyan, that you take kaviyochel atzmus ein seif through the inyan of Torah. Like the Gemara brings the famous Neutrikoin, that Anoichi is Ano Nafshi Nafshoi Kasovish Yehovi, is that I gave my very self in the union of Torah, and therefore Vayichu Li Truma, or Truma refers to Torah, Kiyadua in the Zohar Kodesh, that you take through the union from Torah, Oisi Atem Loichachim. Well, we see that Oisi means Atzmus Ein Seif Mami. But that's the mile of Torah. Through Torah you can also come to Atzmus. Of a Bentayim, that in is Mavur. Become a Mekim is that even is still somewhat Helem in Torah. And the Yosid, it'll be Mishgale. However, here, since the Etzem Ishkashrus will be in Oisi, and that means the Madreg of Atzmus, then it won't be Shayat in if in Yalamdu, Oid Ish Esri, because the inyan from Yalamdu is shayach in Asoga, and I feel in Hoicha inyanim in Asoga it's shayach in from Yalamdu, but in Riyah it's not shayach in from Limud. And therefore the inyan of Moshiach will be to be mare the inyan Elikus for Riyah Mamish, and therefore he won't really teach in the ordinary sense of in massive Oifanim. He will be Megala the inyan of Etzem Alidei Riyah Mamish. And we'll see in a few words further, maybe even higher than, if not better in a way, even than that. So therefore we see that the inyan of the Aliyah b'Moshe Mashiach will have an even further Aliyah that you go up mamish into Atzmus Lamayla from the Mamotza, and then you'll be taking mamish Oisi, and I will bring a dogma from the Taich in the Zoya that Oisi means him. So the Amiti is Hadova Hazeh Yili Osi. That's going to be Liosi. So we have to say that there's two inyanim, because it's mashma that the Aliyah in the Mamotza, the Aliyah in the Mamotza in the Tzada Elyon, or that's also Shad Liosi Be'ika, because that's Yinif and Gilui Pnimis Atik. And like it's already been mashma here, and mashma at the end of the last chapter, that even in that it's Shad Yinif and Lo Yalamdo Oidish Esri Eyu, because it's Mamish Pnimis Atik, and Pnimis Atik is how they call it, enough atzmus for the ordinary person. Therefore, we have to say that Liyosid, they're like two shlavim, like the Rebbe brings in the famous Sikha, the two Eifanim in Liyosid. That there's the Etzem Gilui of Yemoisha Mashiach, the Etzem Gilui, and the Etzem, what you might call Shinui Otzem, which will occur on a day, Bias Mashiach, Tzikenu, Etzem Ha'inyan of the Geula Shleima. And then there'll be at Kufa Le'achrim is called Tchiasa Ameisim. Allah says Mashvin Dazar, according to there'll be a Perek Zman between the Etzem Iskalas of Mashiach and the Yinif Tchiasa Ameisim. Amamele, the later Inyan, that will be an even higher Inyan, that instead of being the Tada Elyon in the Mamutza, that will be an Aliyah Boi Bi'atzmus Imam. And therefore he teaches it that the Inyan from Oisi, what that means, Mamish the Eivish Kamoisha, Kamoisha Hu. And therefore he said, the Amitis Adova Zeh Yili Osid. And the Osid, we're going to see it's got itself different Oifanim. And that's what he's now Masbeh. He said, Well, Inanu, the Hina Eksiv, it's written by Yosef. It's very interesting also that he brings in this pasuk here about Yosef. It's well known that Kama Ramazim in the works of the Rebbe Rashab on the Friedrich Rebbe, that every now and then he's maramas to how there's going to be Dinah from Yosef and you do it. The different passages in Sat Maimorim, but they also start referring to Yosef, Ben Poiras Yosef. Hey, what is this for them? In the Maimah from Tefillin, the Morei Alma, the famous Maimah about the Tefillin, on the Bar Mitzvah, the Friedrich Rebbe, right at the end, he's got a whole big arichos about Yosef. The Tefillin Shel Yad is the Yinif from Yosef. Tefillin Shel Rosh is the Yinif from Yankiv. Dafki the Tefillin Shel Yad is the Ike, even though it doesn't appear to be the Yinif. So he's like Yosef. Yosef is the Yinif from Tefillin Shel Yad. Dafki he's mamshich everything Lamata. Even Tefillin Shel Yad is shaykh Lamata v'chulu. Ganzen arichos abirim is Yadua. And therefore, he said it's written, Ben Poiras Yosef. Ben Poiras Alei Ayin. Well, that's what Yaakov in his brachas, that's how he begins his bracha to Yosef. So the Yinif in Poiras means the idea of Tiferes or Chaim. Rashi teaches it Chaim. And so does the Ramban, and others that they teach it from Lashon, how do you call it, grace or Chaim, Matthias, grace in the eyes of the Bliyos, V'chulu. And if I Ben Poiras Yosef, he's going to be literally a Ben of Chaim, and this Ben Poiras Ali Ayin, or this union of Tiferes or Poiras, is going to be Lamaila Mi Ayin. It's going to be Hecha from the Madrega of I, literally. So we're going to see that there's a Madrega from Poiras Yosef, and then there's Ali Ayin. Higher than the union from Ayin. And that's going to be referring even to the Yinif Tchias Ameisim. Umuvur b'mokim acher tekoi al zman yemois amo shiach u'tchias ha'ameisim. In other words, two periods. The Mashakos of Ben Poiras Yosef koi al zman yemois amo shiach. That's the first step in the whole Iskalos of the Geula. Shiyeh b'chinas toisefes v'ribui oyer. Shalidei habirulim kanal. That will be be through the Avodas Birurim Bezman HaGolos. Like we saw that the Birurim Atzmim at Mamish at the end of the Zman HaGolos, like it was Maram Azoriah, but that's the Avodah with the Guf and the Nefesh Abami is in the Teiche for the Golas, well, that's a Helem of Chochmas Timor, how do you shaykh lamata? And that's a Indian from he called that Birulim, because it was an Indian of Tchias HaChoshech Lagamri, and the Indian from Gilui Biz, the Indian from Ria Hushiyas. So that's a Indian from Tashlum, as you might call it, a Birulim. So that's going to cause a Ribui Aliyah in, or even a Vizkashas, as you might call it, in the Tzad Elyon of the Mamutza. Ben Poidus Alei Ayin, Koi Alzman Tchiasa Meisim. Well, that's going to be an even higher Indian. The Ein Doimel Chol Tchiasa Meisim, like we say in the Tefillas on Shabbos. Ein Areklecha Boilam Hazeh, Ve'ein Zuloscha L'chai Oilam Habo, Efes Biltecho L'Moisa Moshiach, Ve'ein Doimel Chol Tchiasa Meisim. You remember that on the Tefillas of Shabbos? Or you guys still holding by the Madrega that every time you daven, it's new davening. So now Tefillah. Yeah, you guys still holding by that, or you do remember from one time to the to the other? In the old days, you get out of you don't remember. We used to joke about it. We used to joke about these guys. You'd all of a sudden quote them a posse from the davening, and say, "Wait a minute, where's that posse?" And then when they tell them from notice, "Oh, yours, maybe it isn't that." So we used to joke that they have a new davening every day. They don't remember the psukim from one day to the other. It's an ayat tefillah. Don't remember. We used to. And remember, you guys are holding you by Tchias HaMeisim. You don't even know where. It ain't day malachol is Tchias HaMeisim. At the end of the first part of Bilchus Karishma on Shabbos. So it says the Rebbe, we're going to see that the Rebbe teaches that ain't day malachol is mamish liatzma Sefer. All we've been saying up to that, Ein Areich Lecho, Beinam Hazava, Ein Zul Oscho, Afila Efes Biltecho is a high madrega, of Ein Dei Melecho means completely another Ein Beklal to lo boto, if Shori is Beklal to be any Dimoyan, and yet nonetheless, Yidden are going to make it. They're going to come up to that madrega and be Mishkashir. And mischaber in that Indian, and therefore he says, "Ein doimel cho." There's nothing doimel atzmus cho. In the madrega of Tchias, or in the zman of Tchias HaMeisim, she is alu b'chinas atzmus mamish. Not just in the tzad mamutza or the alien of the mamutza chochmas timor, but they'll be misale mamish into the pshitas atzmas. V'hainu alei ayin. L'mayla gam mibchinas ayin be-ayin, even higher than the madrega of the second ayin. Well, that was the Indian from Riyas Mahus, even higher than Riyas Mahut. So now we're going to ask, we shall even higher than Riyas Mahut. He said, "L'yamois HaMashiach yeh ki ayin bi-ayin, kanal, or b'tchias HaMeisim yeh alei ayin." In other words, that there'll be another shlav altogether, which is going to be higher than ayin. We should do it. If we're going to say that the tzad maila from the zweite ayin is mamish ria chushiyat, even the nefesh elokis will benefit from this ria chushiyat in elokos, then maya tetov mizeh. What could be better? We just saw the maila of ria chushiyat over rias ein hasecho. It'll have say maya choliot yoter elyon mi. So he said, no, and Tchias HaMeisim, there's going to be a mile even over that. Wujidas. So he said, V'yesh loima inyan alei ayin hu inyan asoga. Hey, you guys wanted Chabad, so you got it. In other words, says the Rebbe, no, there's going to be a inyan from Liosid, a inyan from asoga, which is going to be higher than Riyah Chushiyat, in Mahus. It's going to be a higher in than real Chushis in Mahus. It's going to be a sok. Dafki a sok. Yeah. If you ever see places in cities where the Rebbe Rasha plays down a sok, which he does, quite a few places, he was only talking in Muslim. He was only talking for the sake of correcting people, getting them in their right gears and arranging things properly. The Rebbe Rasha held that a sok is the Hetzlazah. And here we see that Liyosid Love, after everything, after Filuriya Chushiyas, And that doesn't fit in what he said before. Before he said that Riyah Chush is much higher than Riyah's Ein HaSeichel. Riyah's Ein HaSeichel is another meaning. But here we're going to have Hasoges HaMahus. Yeah, Hasoge Mamish in the clay Hasoge in Mahus Elakus Biz Mahus Ha'atzmi. Your little cup is going to be massive. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Rebbe Rashab said that even before all this. He said when he sits in his room and he locks himself away with a Likutei Torah, and he feels the inner from the Yadati Vayizu. It's from the mouth. The Rebbe Rashab said it about Likutei Torah. He said when he locks himself in a room and he learns Likutei Torah, and he's magisch the inner from the Yadati Vayizu. Aber in Chanami, das ist magisch der Rini, einmalig hier. There were certain people that were getting to that just learning to that. Aber in Chanami, Ilo Yadati Vayizu, Emes.
So isn't that in Tanya, don't you think that Arizal had Hasoga Samahus, but Moshe Rabbeinu had Riyah Samahus, which is higher? In Tanya discusses that the Arizal had Hasoga Samahus, but Moshe Rabbeinu had Riyah Samahus, which is higher.
Kings verkeerd, dort steht, but we're also going to meet something mehr eins. That's the difference between Navua and Hasoga. What he says is that the Nevi'im, they always came to a certain union, but they had Riyah Samahus. They had Riyah, and that was Ina Vananovi. And the great Chachamim, as the Rashbi and the Arizal, they spoke about certain Partsufim, harbe lamayla, than what the Nevi'im saw. So he makes a difference. That's Riyah Samahus, and that's the Ina Vanasoga Bilvat, the Ina Vanasoga Samatiyah. That's what he says. So what he's going to say is that the Osid Lova, those in Yonam are all going to be Asogas HaMahus. In other words, that the Moyach HaGashmi is going to be Masig Asogas Mahus in Atzma Sein. In Atzma Sein Sei. Du verstehst? Aber it's a Pele Nifla, and that's the Chiluk. And that's the Emership Pshat Chocham Odami Novi, because over there the author brings it as a mile and a Chocham over Novi. But the Gemara Baba Vasha, Chocham Odam Pnei Novi. What's a Chocham Berav Novi? Because he can talk about all sorts of Inon. He can talk about whatever you like, because he talks in Hasogas HaMetzias Bilvat. Oh, here we're being Mechadish that it'll be the infant Hasogas HaMahus Man. You got the Chilek. And Amir, do come to is a piddly dicke Sache Alei Adomes, that the highest Indian is that the mensch would be masig as if he a mensch, bumoichoi, and with all the years as a mensch, he'll be masig, mahus, atzma sein seif, bahasoga, moichias man. So good, and Mamira, do we understand why the goof will stand up kamoishahu? The goof won't be a different goof. It'll be the same goof. Because in that little mugbul moya, and in that little mugbul goof, and in that little mugbul moya, the Eibush wants to give it with its ability to understand. He wants to give it Atzma Sein Seif, and that's the highest gift that he can possibly give it. It's higher and comparable than Riyah Samahus. Unbelievable. That's Philip Floyd. One of the guys yesterday, one of our little bochim, I say our little bochim, we had a little Kiddush Torah yesterday, to me, it's our little Kiddush Torah. And Der Levi, he was pilfering around about Tchias Amazing, and somehow or another he got onto the fact that the goof will stand up, Duke Kamoish it won't be any different. It won't be the same goof, just will be healed. The Eibush will heal it, the Eibush will bring it to a good life like it was in the middle of its lifetime or something. And I can stand up so an alter Yid with a walking stick or something. The same goof, and he was queued up mishkashib, with talking about the same goof, make him a shayna goof, it's an higher goof. Nah, because that's what the Eibush wants. He wants the same goof. It's the same moyach, and their moyach at Faneman. Atzma Sein Seif. And we're going to see that there's another diuk into this, that even all the organs But they called the Eber are equal, and things like that will also be there in the guf, even though ein achila ve'ein shtia, olam haba ein lo achila ve'lo shosiyah, and the skate of the olam atchia. What are you going to do all say for him for? What did you say? Oh, they're not going to be in you. Yeah. The Rav Rashab fragte die Kash. He taught in Ranat, I think it is. So he talks about the infant It's amazing. And so the teretz is, they won't really be used, but they will have to be there because Davke al Yodom, we came to the holy. The idea what a Yid used his guf, to serve the Eivester, and the guf helped him a lot. It gave him a lot of pneumistic inyanim and liyosid in the first stage. It's going to give him the rear chushiyas, and that was all because he worked with the inyanim gashmim with the guf. They'll be there like an everlasting remembrance. All the Avram will be there because they're all part of it, and they'll all be zeichet to the Gilead Atzmus. But the moyach will be zeichet to the Dova Haki Niflo, but the moyach will be masi, the Inifanacha. That's what they state. So let's go further. So we just try and see how we get along. So he says, the Mailam, the Moshe Mashiach here, ki ayin ba'ayin kenal. Aber tchias ha-meisim yeh alayin. Ve'esh lo yima inyan alei ayin, hu inyana? So, by much because of Ponim Yofis, I think the Kavanah is, Pirush Alei Ayin, Al Der Chacham Odif Mi Novi, beautiful. You follow that to the Jews, that Chacham Odif Mi Novi, the Ponim Yofis, that's the Baal Pinchas Baal Afloa. But he was the Alter Rebbe's Chava, he and the Reb Shmuel Shmelekis. But they were brothers, and they were the Alter Rebbe's Chaverim by the Magid. And it's put in the October to the Shulchan Aruch. They were big Geonim and Nigla Meon. It's unbelievable. And that they saw the first two parts of the Shulchan Aruch. So I'm just gesehen, the Tzav from the Alter Rebbe, Hilchus Tzitzis and Hilchus Pesach. Those are the first two parts of the Alter Rebbe. And it's put there in the Hagdama, the Mittel Rebbe writes, V'hoi Yolei Neim Shel Snei Achim HaKadoshim, as they say to the Achim HaKadoshim, brings the name, V'achutav Be'ineihem Ve'oid V'shivchu Oisei Ma'oid Ma'oid, as they state. These two parts of the Shulchan Aruch, and the Special Berg. So the Pinchas Baal Afloa, he wrote a sefer on the Torah called Ponim Yofis. So often the Rebbeim quote him. They quote him. There's a simon that we see the Rebbeim like to mention every now and then. These great figures that they weren't mamish shot to Chassidus Chabad, but they had a kesher with the Rebbe and with the Alter Rebbe. They were all part of the holy scholars.
What was the sacred about Ponim Yofis? What was it about? What was the subject of Ponim Yofis?
The Ponim Yofis is a sefer on the Torah. It's a Pirush al HaChumash. And it's B'derech HaNigla ve'Apnim. It's got a lot of Nigla, and it's also got Pnimistic parts. He says that Alayayin is Al Derech Chacham Odif Mi. No, I mean that's mamish what we've been talking about. But Chacham Odif Odom, Chacham Odif Minovi Liosid, it's going to be mamish. In the fourth Tanya which you mentioned, it's only in the Inif, and he can get to the Zochin on him, what the Novi doesn't get, but only in Matziyah. And Lios, it's going to be Chacham Odif Minovi that he's going to have. The Novi only had Riyas HaMahuz. He's going to have Azam Maila in Asoga, which is even higher than Riyas HaMahuz. It's got its own Maila in the soul in Asoga, in Etzem HaMahuz Elakus, and therefore Chacham is going to be Odif Minovi, a periodic Indian, was in the name of the Ponim Yofis. Tehine Asoga Diachsho, Hibchinas HaMetzias Lobo. The Mahuz Hadova and Ushach Hasoga. We don't have any Hasogas Hamahuz, Klau. Ki Im Re'io. The only way that you can be Teifis, even if a Mahuz nowadays, is only through Riyah. If you're Zeicha, if you're given that tremendous gift, that you can have Riyah Samahu. Okay, do I have Reish Bein Riyah Shmir? That the Inif Riyah has a much more profound effect on the Adam than the Inif Shmir. If I remember, Hasoga nowadays is Bedimin in a Shmir, and Riyah is Bedimin in Hariyah, the Inif Riyah Samahuz. He said Hasoga de Liosid, meaning how it's going to be, B'tchias HaMeisim, Yadua Shetia Sogas HaMahus Mamish. In other words, it will be Masig Mahus in the brain, Mamish in the Koach HaSoga. When he preached give a quick the raya. Okay, moi v'yovin kol yitzur ki ato yitzaltoi. Yeah, that's in the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. Well, wait a minute. It's in the Shachris also. Anyway, it's in the Shemoneh Esrei of Rosh Hashanah. I think it's in Shachris also. Yeah, it's just before the end of the main bracha. V'yovin kol yitzur ki ato yitzaltoi. V'yovin davke. In other words, it even kol yitzur, even the poshet madrigas lamata in the meaning of yitzira kipshutei, or they will understand, ki ato, what ato means, atmas, they will understand how their whole being is only you. V'yovin davke b'finas hasoge. V'asoge tiye ki ato yitzate b'finas hamahus. What ato means the very essence of the Eibishter, himself. And you know the famous story of the Alter Rebbe. You know the famous Maas was Sigven. What the Maggid wanted the Alter Rebbe should be on the bima with him when he blew shofar. They went through stages. First of all, he thought the Alter Rebbe was going to blow shofar. And then the Alter Rebbe got out of him a whole series of Giluyim, and then he said, I'm Tovis, I don't know how to blow the shofar. They said, you know, you guys know the Maas. And then Eliachim came, at least the Maggid wanted that he should be on the bima together with him when there was an infant Kiyas shofar. And comes to the time of the Kiyas shofar, and the Maggid looked around, he didn't see the Alter Rebbe, so he says, where's Zalmanu? Where for? So I don't know. So I think it was Reb Zusha or somebody saw that the Maggid wanted the Alter Rebbe, so he burned down to a side room. He knew where the Alter Rebbe was hiding. And in the side room, the Alter Rebbe was davening with the stender. You know, the famous, the house of the Alter Rebbe, what he's done with. He said, done with the stender. Where's this from them? Anyway, the Alter Rebbe, and he's flat out on the floor, the Alter Rebbe. Flat out on the floor, over the stender. The stender's underneath him, and he's sort of prostrated on top of the stender, and he's flat out. So, this tasteless, he says, wow, the Maggid's calling him to the bima, and you know, he's in a Dhamata, but he took the, you know, Maosim. So all of a sudden he got a bright idea, and he walked up to the Alter Rebbe's ear, and he bent down, and he said, the Rebbe ruftich. He said, the Rebbe is calling you. He said it into the Alter Rebbe's ear. Boing! All of a sudden, like an electric shock, the Alter Rebbe shot up, like Superman, and he just burnt this tremendous, he left a position behind, and he just burnt this tremendous, burned out path up to the beam, and the next thing he's standing on the beam, shaking with pachad. So later, after the whole tefillah and all the whole thing, you know, somebody said, I think it was Rav Zuzi, he said, well, what were you doing? You know, you're laying on top of the standard, or what's it, what happened? You know? So the Alter Rebbe said, I came to the pasuk, Yovin kol yitzur, ki ato yitzar. He said, ato yitzar, bin ich weggefallen. He said, there you guys. You know, the Alter Rebbe was unbelievable Balis Pilas as well, you know, but his Pilas really meant something. It was very real. Whenever the Alter Rebbe was in his Pilas, something happened, you know. Anyway, the V'yesh Leimah, says the Rebbe, was it a pshat from them? Tehine, Chochmo Bina, Shneihem, Mekoirim, Mepchinas Chochmo Stimoa, Kenaida. Yeah, Chochmo Stimoa, like we said, was the Mokev Chochmo Hallelujah, and the Chitonius of Chochmo Stimoa is a Shait to Athoge, and that's already Shait to Bina. Mepchinas Chitonius Chochmo Stimoa, Hu Shasoge, Mepchinas Metzias Lovat. The Chitonius led to our Chochmo Bina as we have them now, Kaviogo, which is the union of, Hatzogas Metzias Lovat. Barachriya, he begins mahus. Somebody who's zeichet, and even for Re'iyah, then he has Re'iyah Sama. Yeah, he's zeichet to Re'iyah Samahus. Always a begins Pneumius Chochmas Timoah. Even from Pneumius Chochmas, that's even from Pneumius Atik Mamish. And once you get higher than that, you're in Mamish Atman Saint Say. He said, Shom Gama Soge, he begins Atman Samosa Adova. In other words, Mitzad the Koech Atzmas, then everything's possible. In other words, the dimension, becomes ad kedi kach a shutav LaKodesh Baruch Hu b'ma'aser bereishis, that he becomes mamish one in with the Eibishter, that he's able, as he is a mensch, in the koiches ha'inushim, the moyach, to be masig and to take atmos in the moyach. So, Philip Leutnant. It's nichts verstehen da. Well, I mean it is, but it's not. So he said, he beginnes atmos mahusa hador. Till Yeshe beclosed beginnes pnimis chochmas timor, who beginnes atmos dova. It's a union from the very essence of the thing, atmos dova. Very amazing expression. In other words, you name it, we got it. Whatever dova you're dealing with, then in the tzad pnimi from the memutza, then it's atmos dova. He said, Gam asoga dishom, he beginnes asoga sama. If there's any asoga over there, it's only asoga in everything over there is only kol dover. You name it, that's all menet v'atzmas. Yeah? If there's going to be a soga up there, and the Eivshter allows there to be a soga up there, then that's a soga in the Indian. K'moy shehu dahainu mahu. That is pretty ploys. But actually, we can't really appreciate Hasogas HaMahus. Afilu in Dvarim Pshutim, we don't have Hasogas HaMahus. So that whole inyan of being Masig HaMahus in the Moyach Hagashmi, to be Masig Mahus Ezi in Shiyeh, Alachas Kama Elakus, Alachas Kama Atzmias Elakus. He said, that's going to be eyes, Chadches. And I'll give a quick this. So he says, how are we going to know what it's like? We ordinary guys. How are we going to know what it's like? I mean, people like the Arizal, they're already holding Kamat by that now. They're holding by Riyas Eina Seichel B'Mahuz, or really big Oiv de Havaya, great Tzadikim. Yeah, they can, over the ordinary mensch, how does he have any ability to picture in his mind what this is going to be like? So therefore the Rebbe says, we don't have anything, it's going to be a complete ischadshas. Right, however, he said there is what you might call a shmek tabik. There is a certain taste of it. And he said, Rak me ein shiur b'zeh. It's a sort of, it's like a form of a shiur that we can have in this idea. Yochel liyesh me'in and asoga mukshias shenis bur liyil. Now, asoga mukshias shenis bur liyil was what we saw in the Nefesh Abamis and the Guf, that they can have asoga mukshias in Matiyah. So he said that's like a form of a tzir, of some picture. You saw what's going to be likely outside, because the whole inyan becomes tremendously real to him, as if he was seeing it, but he's not really seeing it. He's seeing what he sees, but he's understanding what he sees, and then what's killer that what he's seeing is what he understands. But it's not really. He's seeing things that they are miyames. That was the lesson. They are miyames what he understands. They make emes what he understands. Of all upon him, it comes to Islam, he said that that's the sort of thing that a, in inverted commas, normal mensch can come to. Das can come. That he can, by examining inyanim in the world, and looking at the inyanim, how they are in the world, and the Seder, and the Nivroim, it's possible for him to actually see these inyanim, how, and what they tell you. That you can sort of see it, and that's what Mahei Megalim, and you can see that. That's a tziyur al chaponim and a dor oivel rochik. The liasin, that's how we're going to see Elikus. Why is it only a tziyur bilvad? It's not really the inyan k'moishu, because liasin, we're not just going to be assisted and brought into a kesher with what we understand. We're going to actually see ma'ud, ma'ud. I'm sorry, not to see it, we're going to be masik, slicha. We're going to be masik, mamish, the inyan of Mahud. He said, V'zo alei ayin. But that is the inyan of even higher than ayin. Ki yesh maila ba'asoga al hariyah. Before he said, no, Riyah Kush is saying, no, higher than Riyah Zayin HaSeichel. Now he said, oh, ba'asoga, emes ha'asoga, well, that's the maila, Riyah Kushiyah. Wow. In other words, for that moyach hagashmi, with the guf hagashmi to be mamish masig mahus elakus, ein l'mayla mizeh. Ein, yeah, and so we're going to see from words, because Sof Kosov, Hasoge, yeah, if it's in Mahus, then Hasoge is ki, as the expression now, Kemuna Pekusa. It's in a tfisa, how the goof, Gashmi, Eva, the brain is an Eva. And the brain is, they call the brain as an Eva Gashmi, is Teufels and Miyachad in itself. Inif and Mamish, Mahus, Elokus, Mahus Atzmus, Ein Lamaila Mizah. Because when the eye sees it, that type of tfisa, it's only a kilo, a spilas as you see something of it that it's been mamish misyachid with the Eva Hagashmi, doesn't have kinasok. That's how Philip plays for Nazar. He talked about Chabad V'hoim Hasoge. So he said, yeah, oh why? Yesh Meile V'Hasoga Al Hariyah. Shehi b'phinas tfisa b'pnimiyas yesa mi'ariyah. That's our word. That emes hasoga is tfisa, and that's what the Alter Rebbe is maramed in Perek Hay in Tanya. They've turned out the word tfisa and tfisa. The Alter Rebbe shows you the meaning of tfisa. Yeah, leis machshava tfisa bay. Yeah, the meaning of tfisa. So the Rebbe is that nowadays leis machshava tfisa. Obeliosid yo machshava tfisa. And that's what he's mounted at, the mile from Tfisa. Yeah, how the brain takes in such a way that it's makifu mukaf. And he says, Azai yichud, what ein yichud kamoizeh. That's what he writes in Perek. Ein yichud kamoizeh, lo nimtsu begashmius klau. That's right, the Alter Rebbe. That type of Tfisa is now leis machshava Tfisa. Aval yosid yo machshava Tfisa. Remember, all those milas of tfisa are going to be in Mahusa Atzma. V'kasher hasoge hi b'chinas rak b'chinas matzias levad hari mikol mokim hariyah shehi b'mahusa dovo hari ze l'mayla me'asog. Kol oid that you're talking about hasoge in matzias versus hariyah, which is out to be teifus the mahusa ve'in, that einachanem is a mile in riyas hamahus. Akasher gam hasoge tia b'mahus adova tia l'mayla b'chinas hariyah. V'zeo alei ayin l'mayla b'chinas hariyah. Right. Zeh politic.
Maybe you can say that if it's not asoga in ma'usa davar, then it can change. After you masik something else, it can somehow you miss masik it, or you can come close to it, or come far from
Even
it.
you can be masik deeper and deeper as you go along.
No, I mean sometimes even if you masik something and it kind of goes away after a while, maybe it happens if you're not masing ma'us, but mitzis, as I understood, if you masig ma'us, it doesn't change.
Well, in a way, Riyah also has that mila a little bit, yeah. But that's a kavanah, that will be so dovuk, that will only be shaykh, yusuf veikas. And there's a remnant to that once you get to Atzmas, you just get to everything. I mean, Atzmas is everything. So, I mean, you're not going to stop. It's going to be going higher and higher. Yeah, because the pshitas of the Atzmas is doirish, toivea be'atzma is kolein. There's just ain't possible. There's no gvul, cloud to how far you can go once you get to that. Yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The whole union. He said, "It's a mile so kasher gama soge tia b'malhus." Yeah, tia la mile m'chinas hariyah. So alle Jahren der so hier betris amazing. Ja, der ein Däumel ho. Mamish lecho be'atzmus va ein Däume. It's absolutely no way any comparison. In other words, in Mahus, there's never been anything like that, and that's another bechina altogether, and that unites us with Mahus licho, Mamish with lecho. And he said that's written in that tefillah that when is that going to be litriasa? Amazing. That'll definitely be in the final shlav, as you might call it, of the whole toitzah of the Geula. V'nichye lefonov mamish. Well, that's a pasuk in Hosea. Yichayenu miyoymayim, u'bayim hashlishi nichye lefonov. And it's interesting, even Rashi learns over there that the Chayenu Yomayim is referring to the two Batei Migdosh. And there was a Aina from Churban, a Aina from Hefsik. B'yom HaShlishi is referring to the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. Yikimenu, we will stand us up. V'nichre lefonov, and we will live kilo, lefonov, l'loi Hefsik. Shalei Achrim, Chas v'Shalom. Over here we're Taishim. V'nichre lefonov, in Pnimis v'Atzmas Ein Sof will be the highest kipshutei of the other Magashim. Though I have the season, because I got to tomorrow with the Bochum. Pretty amazing stuff, eh? So, I mean, we've begun through this Maimon, and we've seen these unbelievable views of the whole situation. Everything changed. I mean, we've been living the whole time that really it's a Geula. Everything Chokmah is Mamish Atzmus, eh? It's the Mamutza, but it's not two Madrigas, it's just what it is. It's just how it appears to you. And yeah, if you get through that, then you just keep getting into Atzmus. However, eventually it's going to be Hasoga Samahus in Atzmus, with the Moecha Gashmi Kamoishu. It's Kein Tiolano, the Pearl Mamish. You remember, now we can understand why the Rebbe says, what are we waiting for? It's like, oh, you see, it depends what sort of chips you're playing for, What are the stakes? And if the stakes are this, it's Asia Pacific would say, oh no, the Golos is good, are you crazy? Come out into the Gula. That's what the Rebbe said, no matter how much heseg you might be masig, it's nothing like what you have to be masig for the Gula Slayim. Good. All right, guys.